going? So today on BKRsport, we're back here for another NRL position tier maker. I'm absolutely loving this series. Obviously, we do it every single year. We did it last year, we're doing it this year, so I guess we've done it in 2 years, but we are going to be doing it every single year, man. And I love it, man, because we get to go through literally every single player across the NRL. Pretty much all starting players. Obviously, there will be a couple, not necessarily today. I think there is actually just genuinely 16 players today because the halfback position is a lot more, it's less volatile. It's very easy to understand who's going to be playing in that position compared to, say, somebody else. But another position like the second rows that really are interchangeable and whatnot. But yeah, obviously, I really like this because we get to simply analyse every single player and get hype for the season. The season's not too far away. Obviously, these ones are coming out every single week. We've got 2 of these every single week with a new content creator. So, guys, for the halfbacks, we do have SuperCoach365. How are we doing, champion?
Good. Thanks, mate. And yeah, great to be here and looking forward to get stuck into this one because you mentioned there the halfbacks. It's one of my favourite positions. Former halfback myself, not at any great heights in the NRL level, but in maybe the under 10s, I was a former halfback. But no, good to chat some number 7s, and it's a good list here, and really excited to dive into it.
Yeah, of course, man. Obviously, you also do, as in your name, SuperCoach. So what do you do in the community, man? Like, you get around the SuperCoach and help people out with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it's a rugby league podcast, but yeah, focused around SuperCoach. Fantasy NRL, so not Fantasy NRL, I should say SuperCoach, just pure SuperCoach. So if you do play SuperCoach, be sure to head on over to us at SuperCoach365. Season previews, we're kind of getting them through at the moment while we count down to kickoff, but in season we do a weekly podcast as well. Sort of going over, best pickups of the week, who to drop, and so on and so forth, and all the injury suspension news. You can get that all from us. But as you say, they're teaming up with some content creators in the preseason as well to sort of get a different lens. And it's a great little community we've got going over there at the SuperCoach. So good stuff happening at the moment.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like I came onto one of your Instagram lives the other day and I said, I'm going to be utilising you for my, fantasy SuperCoach knowledge because I am big on my baseball and NBA fantasy and NFL fantasy because they're so in-depth, but I haven't really got back to the rugby league for a while because I think for me, it's a lot more, it's a lot simpler than those ones that are 162 games, 82 game seasons. But I think that the NRL one is so enjoyable because it just, for me, it fluctuates quite frequently and you simply need to get rookies rather than the big donnies, and with baseball and whatnot, it's all about getting the big donnies. And I just think it's a lot more interesting because you get to actually watch the really young guys as a focal point in what you guys do there with fantasy and SuperCoach. So yeah, I'm excited to obviously see what you guys are doing and get into that. But obviously, we're doing halfbacks today, and like you did say, it's pretty good. There's some pretty good halfbacks here, and there's also quite a few unknowns, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, guys, we go through elite, quality, do the job, not that great, and unproven, and we do have to put somebody in every single one. So if you get put not that great, I know some players do watch these. Please don't take offense to it. Just understand that we understand that you are in the NRL. That means that even if you're the worst player, you're still way better than what I could do and way better than what a lot of people can do. You're still in the top division. But compared to the other guys who have made it there as well, you've got a lot to improve on. And you can improve it. Prove us wrong in 2022. Be my guest. But for now, we're going to put you not that great. And also, if you're in 2023, you're watching this right now, and you tell us, well, how dare you put him there? What are you talking about putting him there? He had a great 2022. Hey, listen, man, we've done this in 2022, January, not at the end of the year. So, listen, we'll be back next year to do our tier rankings for the halfbacks again. But are you ready to get rock and rolling?
Yeah, let's dive in. Just on that before we do get started, not that great. When I read this yesterday, I thought it was maybe a little bit harsh. I can see where you're going there, but maybe it's just work to do or something along those lines.
Do you want me to say what the original one was going to be?
Go for it, mate.
It was actually originally going to be better as a water boy, but I did change it to not that great because look, it is what it is, man. Like they're not fantastic when it comes to the league, and they've got a lot of work to do. So yeah, it is what it is. If they get upset,
I think that speaks volumes about the stock of NRL halves at the moment, though. It's just you mentioned there, such a key position, such a unique position. There is only one of them on the field, so. The depth of talent in those positions right across the NRL, it's a little bit concerning, to be honest, because I don't want to look too far ahead here, but towards the pointy end of the tree here, I think the numbers are going to be pretty low. Where in years gone by, maybe early 2000s when we were sort of stacked and blessed with some great halves, maybe it's skewed the other way. So anyway, let's get into it.
Alrighty. Well, guys, don't forget, obviously, thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know in the comment section your thoughts, because you will have a different opinion to us. But first up here, guys, we do have Adam Clune. As you can see here, it does have the Dragons photo. He does have the Dragons jersey on, but he's actually at the Newcastle Knights, though, because obviously Mitchell Pearce is gone now. So, look, with Adam Clune, I wasn't exactly a big fan of him at the Dragons. Dragons obviously struggled last year and have struggled for the most recent couple of years, so that's the form we have to kind of go off there. Now he's at Newcastle Knights, which is going to be difficult for him to really show out, especially with the loss of Mitchell Pearce, even though that is the reason why he's coming into that team. Callum Ponga will stay at the fullback, and I think Jake Clifford at the six. So it's not exactly like the halves pairing is going to really help him out here. But individually as a player, man, I'm not going to lie, I would have put Adam Clune too far up there.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit harsh to rank him as not that great. But in saying that as well, we don't know if he can do the job because he has yet to really sort of cut his teeth in first grade. We've seen him on glimpses for the Dragons sort of when they needed him. I actually watched a little bit of Adam Clune coming through the old New South Wales Cup. Intra Super Premiership. He dominated that competition in 2019. Led the Dragons to, I think it was within one game of the grand final, maybe even the grand final from memory. So he does have what it takes as sort of that cup tier half, but we are sort of yet to see it on the NRL stage. So for mine, it's hard to put him too high up, but I don't want to be too harsh on him as well because we've sort of yet to see him for a sustained period of time in the NRL at least.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. From what I have seen, I would be putting him in not that great, just because I don't think there is going to be, and I think he's still got plenty of potential to be able to maybe do something with it, but I think for the time being, I think we should put him in not that great because there's no way you put him to the job, and I do think he's had enough games in him to say that he's not unproven, but I just think there's a lot of work to be done, which is what you said not that great should be. Would you agree with that?
I do. I think he's not helped by the fact that Newcastle now lose Jaden Brayley with that injury as well. So he's going to have his back against the wall there in Newcastle. And I'm tipping a tough year for Newcastle. So Adam Clune, he may be sort of just the sticking point in all of that.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's move on now. We'll go to Adam Reynolds. Obviously, it says here that he's at the Rabbitohs. He's also another, and you'll find this with these halfbacks. A lot of halfbacks have actually swapped and changed, and even one that might be changing soon as well. But for the Rabbitohs here, went to the Broncos, Adam Reynolds. This is going to be a very interesting one. I'm going to let you go here first. What are you thinking about Adam Reynolds going into the 2022 season?
Yeah, I think if we did this, 6-7 years ago, he'd probably be in that elite category. I think, he's still very, very good halfback. He got his team into a grand final last year, and if not for one pass, they probably go on to win that game. So have him right up the top of this list here. Probably a quality halfback, I'd say. He's an Origin player on his day, and even still last year when they were talking about Mitchell Moses coming in for game 3, I actually would have picked Adam Reynolds and Cody Walker, the Souths pairing.
That's what I was thinking,
for that third game. So, in the twilight of his career now, but still right up there in the upper echelon of number 7s.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that even up until maybe 2-3 years ago, you'd probably still have him into the elite, even 2 years ago. But look, for me, I'd have him upper end of quality. I just think that I'm comparing to what I'm also about to see coming forward in regards to, age that's also on their side, and just the sheer quality of another player that obviously will be number 1 here. I know he will be number 1, but I just think the gap is decent there. And also the confusion with me with Reno as well as at the Broncos. Like, he still has a pretty how you go on spine. The number 9, Jake Turpin, number 1, I don't even know if it's Tessie New or maybe Selwyn Cubbo, whatnot. And then his number 6 is either Tyson Gamble or Jake, not Tyson Gamble or Albert Kelly. So, look, I think that he's got a lot to prove this year at the Broncos. I think he's absolutely in quality, and he'll be at the top end of quality, in my personal opinion. I don't think many players will go above him there, but I couldn't put him into the elite. So, how would you put him in quality?
Yeah, that's where I had him.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, next up here we go to Ben Hunt for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. A lot of people talking about them this year. I'm not buying into their hype, but with that being said, I really like Ben Hunt. I think Ben Hunt is a great player. I do personally believe he's actually a better hooker than a number 7, but in the same sense, I do really like what Ben Hunt does provide there, and I would actually put him in quality.
I agree with you. I think he's better a 9 than a 7, and we've seen that in times where the Dragons use him at hooker. I think they've played their best footy.
Origin game 3 as well.
Yeah, of course. And I think for too long, since he's moved to the Dragons, he's probably been seen as, well, he had to play number 7 because they signed him as a 7. But I agree with you. I think he's better from 9. He's more of an organiser, and his defence is rock solid as it comes for that smaller body. So, yeah, I think he's still very quality, though. I'd have him up towards the top here. Even a halfback.
I'd put him below Adam Reynolds, though. I would put him below Adam Reynolds here, but definitely in quality alongside him, but just not above him. Because I do still think that Renault, that's his obviously preferred position. He's an out-and-out halfback. And I think Ben Hunt, if he was to go to the 9, but then again, McCulloch is in the 9, and McCulloch absolutely gets his job done. So, I think Ben Hunt, pretty happy to go there in quality. Next up here, we go to the Cowboys, and we do have Chatty Townsend. I'm interested to see what you have to say here, because I used to be very high on Chatty Townsend, obviously back in 2016, even though you do have to look at who he had there. He had James Maloney, one of the best halves partners ever, Michael Ennis in the number 9, and then the fullback, he had a brilliant Benny Barber there. And I think that out of the 4, he was probably the weaker option there, but in the same sense, he was great back then. He was a safety net, and then did pull the Sharks along for a few years, but I just don't think he's been at it recently. And for me, man, I think he was the epitome of do the job when we were coming into last season with the halfbacks. We put him into the job. I'm not going to lie, I would put him at the top end, not that great right now, with the ability to have a ceiling and do the job again this year. But I would personally put him in not that great at the top end.
Yeah, you're right. And when I did this myself, when you got me thinking about this, I had him in do the job because I did fall back on that premiership year at Cronulla, but that was now 6 years ago. So,
absolutely, yeah.
That kind of, maybe it's a little bit harsh to have him down in not that great, but I think that's using that reasoning around Adam Reynolds before about, I guess, the span since the last premiership. It's sort of, it does make a little bit more down a little bit further. He's safe. You use that word safe, but safe doesn't win you comps in season 2022. We've seen that with players like Cleary willing to take risks. Even Jahrome Hughes, more of that sort of attacking, running number 7. You don't get that out of Chad as much in this stage of his career anyway.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think the Cowboys is the worst move for him too. Personally, I don't get excited by anything in the attack there for the Cowboys, and their whole spine is also a bit. So Chad Townsend has a lot to prove. Does he have a lot to prove? Obviously, he's not exactly a young Donny anymore. We'll see how he goes with the Cowboys, but I'm just not on him like I used to be with what he used to be able to provide for the Sharks, obviously. But now we move on here to the Manly Seagulls, and we move to Daly Cherry-Evans. I could give you a different name as a Titans fan. I could give you a different name to Daly Cherry-Evans, but I won't. I will say he's got a long neck. But I'll let you go here, and I'll let you tell us what you think about Daly Cherry-Evans.
I had him up in the elite category. I think if you're playing Origin, you're one of the elite halfbacks. And if it wasn't for Nathan Cleary's back-end form of the year, and if Panthers don't win that premiership, he's probably still the Kangaroos number 7 if they are playing test matches. But I guess given the form of New South Wales and Penrith, I'd probably have Cleary as the Australian number 7 today if we're playing a test tomorrow. And DC would be a close second for that.
Yeah, I agree. I would consider. I actually think him and Renault are pretty similar in a lot of aspects in regards to the quality that they bring. I think that who you're talking about, obviously we're not mentioning him because obviously we'll get to there in a minute, but I think who you're talking about is still very significantly. There's a big gap there, and that's why the elite for me is the best of the best. And I know that Cherry-Evans is unbelievable, but then again, recently, in the most recent years, he hasn't exactly been at his peak form. Last year, he did actually work well with Kieran Foran again, but I don't know. He's also, we talk about Queensland, they haven't exactly been, well, they did win 2020. I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I would consider between elite and quality, but in my opinion, I would probably put him above Renault in the absolute top of quality. And I think the people are going to disagree with both of us here.
I don't know. I think if you ask 100 people, there's more than 50% of them say elite. I don't know this is your thing, mate. You're defining elite, but if you're playing Origin still, that for me, as sad as this is, but that is the top of rugby league. It's not an international sport in the sense that games with the best players sadly isn't Australia versus New Zealand. Probably like it should be in other sports, whereas international is seen as the peak. But if he is the best of the best in one of the best teams going around, at that position. Yeah, personally, that's why I had him at elite. But as you say,
did lead the team to 50-point losses though. Obviously, we'll chuck him in elite. I'll grant you it. Obviously, this is not just mine. This is us doing this here. So we'll put him into elite there. I would like to see. I'm actually probably going to be most interested to see where people have him in the comment section, because I know a lot of people were off him recently and thought that last year are all about Trbojevic, which wasn't necessarily true, but also was kind of a big deal. So, yeah, look, I'm very interested to see what the comment section says about Cherry-Evans there. And I'm not saying that he's not elite at all. I'm just saying that I think him and Reynolds are probably the same. But we'll move on here and we'll go to Jahrome Hughes at the Melbourne Storm. I think that Jahrome Hughes is one of the top three. I personally have him as a top three halfback in the competition right now with the Melbourne Storm. Yeah, he can be set ball occasionally, but there's no way that you could be putting him. You have to be putting him above Ben Hunt. And honestly, I could be throwing him in the names with Adam Reynolds and also with Cherry-Evans.
Yeah, again, probably maybe I looked at this a little bit differently, because I go back to that example of if there's a test match tomorrow, he's the number 7 for New Zealand, without question.
Absolutely.
So if you're the best halfback in your country, of one of the very few countries that plays international rugby league, yeah, he's on the podium.
I actually personally would put him above Cherry-Evans.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I think going off last year's form, particularly even 2020, I mean, he's a premiership winning halfback in the, one of the more recent premiership winning halfbacks behind the most recent season. So yeah, I'd have him right up there.
Yeah, I'd have him. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I have him as a top 3 halfback, and I thought that people may consider him alongside Reynolds, but I do believe, especially with his age as well, he's just got so much more that he can do, and he can just keep moving it. And hopefully this year he keeps to prove it. But yes, Melbourne Storm this year have a bit of a shakiness about them, so it'll be interesting to see how he does pull through. So we'll put him there above Cherry-Evans in elite. Next up here, we'll move to Jake Averillo here from the Doggies. There is no guarantee guess it. I could have put Kyle Flanagan in here as well, but we're not going to. We're going to chuck Jake Averillo, because I believe he will more than likely be the starting half there. What are your thoughts on Averillo and the Dogs this year?
Yeah, that's the talk of the town, isn't it? Personally, sort of like Jahrome Hughes, just to jump back a little bit. Jahrome sort of came into grade as a fullback and found his way into the 7. I think Averillo is a little bit similar in the sense that he's sort of a similar build, and the way I look at him, he's either a 6 or a 1 that's being forced to play 7, being sort of moulded into a number 7. I wouldn't say he's a traditional halfback in sort of the organiser and kick to corners type of number 7, but for mine personally, I think saying not that great is probably harsh. I think he's unproven, because I think he's spent time at fullback, 5'8", centre, and now Barrett's tasking him with the job of leading a team around.
Was he their starting halfback last year, though?
Well, I mean, he shared it with Kyle Flanagan, and then Wakeham as well. Beyond Diodo, I think, had a go. So they've been on rotation, Dogs. They need some stability there, and I think Barrett's sort of leaning towards Averillo as a longer-term solution, but I'm yet to see it.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly have a look here at how many games he's played, because I think he probably has enough games under his belt to more than likely, there's another one here that I know will go on unproven, because he's only played, I think, 4 games or so at the end of last season. But I just want to quickly have a look, because if he played like more than 10 games, 15 games kind of deal, I think we do have enough of an idea about what we're probably going to be seeing to probably put him in upper end, not that great, or lower end of the job, because look, the Dogs there's a lot of things to consider with them this year. A 2020 appearances 2. Has he only played 2? No, it's a centre. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Well, this is a tough.
It's tough. Yeah, it is. It is tough.
I feel like I have seen a bit of him though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's unproven as an NRL player. I think he's definitely an NRL player, but as a halfback option, he's unproven, because I think he has bounced around so much, and he hasn't had to do it for 25 games a year by 4 years. For me, I think, let's call it 50 games. I think if you play, the average NRL career is 45 games, I think. That's about the mark. I don't think he's played 45 games at halfback. So for me, to judge him as a number 7, I think it's unfair to do it any other way. I'm yet to see it. I'm yet to see him in the rigors of week to week as an NRL number 7. That's just me personally.
We'll put him unproven. We'll put him unproven. I think that if I was to, based off what I've seen, I would put him on above Chad Townsend, not that great, personally, from what I've seen so far. But I agree that you can throw out the unproven part because he has played so many different areas, and I tried to Google it, and it gave me centre. So that tells you everything you need to know about the fact that it didn't even have him as a solid halfback there.
Yep.
But all right, so we'll put him in unproven for now, and we'll see the comment section. Next up here, we'll go to Jamal Fogarty. Now, it says he's obviously the Gold Coast Titans there. Now he's at the Canberra Raiders. I love Jamal, but I'm going to put him in to do the job.
Yeah, exactly where I had him. Rock solid. You know what you're going to get. Kicks goals really well as well. Sort of a bigger body for a number 7. And makes his tackles as well. So for me, he's sort of one of those players. Look, if we need to compete, and I have Jamal Fogarty to choose from, I'm not disappointed. I'm not stoked, but yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay.
He'll get it done. Like, he'll do what he needs to do, and that's really about it. Like, obviously, as a Titans fan myself, I know what Jamal can bring, and this is why I was relatively confused with why everyone who is not a Titans fan, or even a lot of Titans fans, were confused that we got rid of him and went to the Canberra Raiders, because I feel like if the Titans want to win a premiership in the next few years, and I don't mean any disrespect to Jamal, but they weren't going to be winning a premiership with Jamal Fogarty as their number 7. So they wanted to potentially, bring through the young guns in Toby Sexton and then move up AJ Brimson, which is a bit more of a long-term plan that probably is more. There's a higher ceiling there with those two than with Jamal Fogarty. So yeah, I think that Jamal, good luck in Canberra. It's an interesting place to go to right now with all their troubles, but I think he's definitely the epitome of do the job. But now let's move into the Rabbitohs here, and we're going to be having Lachlan Ilias. There's no way I can put him in anywhere but unproven, and I have nothing to really go off here, but, good luck to him.
Yeah, short and sharp, this one. And I guess given the fact that he is unproven makes him such, and I come back to that Supercoach land, such a great option this year because comes with big raps. He gets in at a cheap price in one of the best teams in the competition. You'd think still definitely a top 8 team. But yeah, unfair to say he's not that great because what's he played? One NRL game. And I think, he gets a perfect chance alongside one of the best spines currently assembled in the NRL, Latrell, Cody, and Damien Cook. I mean, that could be at any other given day the New South Wales spine. So yeah, perfect opportunity for this young kid to come into grade and to cut his own teeth and to make a name for himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just obviously a bit of a worry with Wayne Bennett going and whatnot, but in the same sense, I still think hopefully Jason Demetrio will be able to get the job done there for the Rabbitohs and help him outgrow. Help him grow with that team. Next up here, we've got a controversial figure. I see a lot of polar opposite opinions about this man. Luke Brooks here of the West Tigers. Now, I did mention before he may be somewhere else, but the thing is the Tigers desperately want to keep him. I believe it's the Knights who might want to get him. I'm not sure. This is really kind of pointless to be talking about right now. But in the same sense, a lot of players say that Luke Brooks is unbelievable. A lot of fans say Luke Brooks is unbelievable on the opposite end of the scale and say he's absolutely shithouse, which I don't believe. I don't agree. I don't believe he's shithouse. I believe he can be a really good player on his day, but he can also be absolutely horrific on a day. But then again, he also is brought down by the fact that he's the West Tigers, one of the biggest shambles of the franchise in the history of the NRL. And that's a fact. And that's not me having to go at Tigers fans. It is just a fact. So I personally, it's a tough one here for Brooks. I definitely would put him to do the job.
No, I disagree. I have him as not that great.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, what's he played? 10, 11 years of first grade and never made a final series? For me, you mentioned Jamal Fogarty never winning a premiership.
Can you solely blame him, though?
Halfback doesn't miss everyone's tackles on the team, but I think, the attack, they've struggled to score points as well as anything. I mean, the saving grace for Luke Brooks, and I pulled this out the other day when I did some numbers around the amount of possessions each team's halfback has and the influence they have on a team. He was the second highest possessions per game of any halfback currently in the NRL, behind the Panthers at number 7. So it just shows you he is so influential in their attack. He is the focal point, and just hasn't been working out. So yeah, for mine, I think it's unfair to put him anywhere else other than not that great.
I just think with Luke Brooks, if he is... I just think the Tigers is such a hard team to ever rank because there are good players there, but it's like even with someone of the scale of James Tedesco back in the day, which is a lot different, but when he was at the Tigers, I don't believe that people would have given him elite simply because of the way that team brings him down. I think that, I'm not saying that Luke Brooks is brought down necessarily by his team, but I do believe he's better than... I do believe he's better, and he does get held down as well with the team. And that's why I think that I would be happy to put him at the very bottom and do the job, because you've got him in not that great. I've got him in do the job. I think we should draw the line and put him right at the bottom of do the job.
That's fair enough.
I think it's on the brim.
I think as well, I just go back as well to, I think it was 2017 when they had the big four, as they called them at the time, all off contract: Tedesco, Moses, Brooks, and Woods. I think they threw the book at Teddy and Woods to start with, and then they obviously both went elsewhere. And then the next option was Moses, and then he went elsewhere. He was sort of the worst. Well, not the worst, but he was.
Did Brooks win the halfback of the year in 2018 though?
Yeah, but again, that was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be fair, I don't know how he did that, which is surprising. I think says more about the Daly M.
I think that was a really good year for him, but I think that the Tigers yet again were not great. It is what it is. That's what I'm saying. Like, he can have a really good year, and then people don't remember 2018 when he did win the halfback of the year. So look, I think we'll leave it there. We'll put him and do the job. I'm pretty happy to put him below Jamal, but above Chatty Townsend. Alrighty, next up here we can go with, also I believe that he has a bigger ceiling than Chad Townsend and also Adam Clune. But next up here, we will move to Mitchell Moses, the Parramatta Eels. I think that his second half of the season last year was phenomenal. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable for the Parramatta Eels going towards the end. And I'm not the biggest Parramatta Eels fan ever. I would love to see them be relatively successful, but then again, it's very funny to say that go on 35 years without a premiership and chasing down that Sharks 50-year drought. I would personally put Mitchell Moses in quality, and I would actually probably put him above Ben Hunt.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And yeah, as I said, I kind of fall back on that representative status. He's playing New South Wales Origin last year, so top of the list.
A lot of people complained about him in New South Wales, though, to be fair. But yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, that was probably one of his worst games of the season. Unfortunately for Mitch, it's probably his one and done in terms of playing for New South Wales. But I think the Eels consistently are going to be a top 4, top 5 team as long as he and Gutherson are there. So happy to have him right up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're chucking quality. And like I said, every Eels fan on this channel thinks that I hate him. I don't hate him. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I don't hate him. And I'm happy to put their players in when I think that they're good enough. If I think their players are good, I'll tell you they're bloody good. If I think their players are shit house, I'll tell you their players are shit house. It is what it is, man. But let's move into the next one here. And there is literally no debate here. There's no argument. It's Nathan Cleary, and he has to go number 1. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, how he hasn't won the past 2 Daly M medals. Well, sorry, maybe the Trbojevic medal aside, but I mean, he was probably a little bit, very hard done by even in 2020 when
absolutely
Jack Whiten came out on top.
And there's no hate towards Jack Whiten, but in the same sense, we all know, even Jack Whiten, I believe, could see how surprised he was when he won that over Cleary. But that's how it works, and it is what it is. But for me, man, I watch. When everyone watches them, but in the same sense, I watch every game, and I love watching Cleary. Cleary is legitimately, can potentially be the best player that we will ever see if he continues down this trajectory. He's only like 26 years old or 25 years old, man. He's got so
younger.
long.
He's younger than that.
23, isn't he, actually?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, he's very young. I think his ceiling's high. I think you stack his records up against those of like your Fittlers, your Andrew Johnsons, Darren Lockyers of the world. They're right up there. I mean, they're if not the same, they're better than those.
If he keeps going down this track, I genuinely believe by the end of his career, if he keeps going down this track that he's already on, I've got him as the number 1 all time based off what he has the potential to be. That's his ceiling anyway. That's his ceiling. He's number 1 of all time. So let's move on now to the Sharkies. He's at the Storm here, Nicho Hynes, and now he's at the Sharkies. I would probably go more towards the unproven section here, especially going to a new club, and especially with the fact that Jahrome Hughes realistically was the 7 there. I don't even know how many times he did play in halfback there. Sometimes he played 6, sometimes he played 7, mainly played fullback when Ryan Pappenhausen was out. So I'd be probably happy to put him in unproven.
Yeah, agree with you there. I did have him in quality, but yeah, I think you make some great points there. He is yet to play 7 week in, week out. So sort of like that Averillo context there. I yet to see it consistently in the NRL. I think he's a great player, but if we're not judging off just pure ability and skill, and it is where they rank as a halfback, he's unproven.
Yeah, like if we're talking about fullback here, I'd probably put him into the quality section, lower end though, because obviously there is better fullbacks out there. But in the same sense, I think that from that year that he had, and also he's only very fresh. Last year was his rookie year, was it? Or was it year before that his rookie year?
No, he's played a few years, but he's generally been that utility type and sort of a Mr. Fix-It for the Storm. And then obviously got his chance last year to play 20-plus games with Pappenhausen's injuries. And I think, he filled in for Munster at different times. It felt
like his rookie year last year. It felt like it.
It did. It was his breakout. Year.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Well, speaking of breakout year, we do have Sammy Walker, the Gold Coast Titans killer. Don't start me. But Sammy Walker here for the Sydney Roosters, and look, he's had a full season there now, man. So I definitely would be putting Unproven. I'd be putting him into quality, and he's got a lot of ceiling to go. But it's tough to put him in quality. Where would you put him? Would you put him below? There's no way you could put him into elite just at the moment. Below Hunt, above Hunt, below Mitchell Moses. I'm not too sure, man. What would you say?
I think he's below Mitch Moses. Probably on potential, he'd be above Ben Hunt.
I think in terms of what he's now, maybe below Hunt.
Yeah, I think. Again, Hunt's playing Origin last year, and I know it's sort of Sam Walker's age prevents him from doing that, and his experience prevents him from doing that. He will play Origin one day without question, and for as long as he's working with Cooper Cronk in his back pocket, that's a phenomenal mentor to have on your team. So, I was impressed, to be honest, and I think he handled himself really well in his debut season. A bit of size that he's put in over the off-season will certainly help his game, and go back to the week-to-week rigors of playing in the halfback spot. You're going to be a target for the opposition ball runners. So he's held his own there, and he's only going to get better.
Do you think he's a good option for SuperCoach, considering that he is still coming off, that his fresh years, breakout years, rookie year, and then coming into this, or do you think he's still going to be quite expensive?
No, he's too expensive for mine. I think last year he was a must-have at that price, $173,000 he was at the start of last year. Now, I think he's even more expensive than Luke Cleary, which just shows you the impact that he had in that Roosters team last year. He may kick goals alongside, it's either he or Momorowski, I think, if Momorowski gets the start, or Taka Auhau, whatever way they look to go. But, not this year for mine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's move into the man in the New Zealand Warriors, Shawnee J, gone back to the Warriors from the Sharkies. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Warriors can do this year. Obviously, they're in Redcliffe, though, which does hamper them. But in the same sense, they've been there for years now, so we're probably going to stop kind of raving on about that because they should be relatively acclimatised, I guess, with their situation over the last couple of years. But Shaun Johnson, obviously, he goes up there. He's going to be partnering Ash Taylor. Shaun Johnson, for me, at the Sharks, he was a shining light throughout the season of 2020. Has had his hiccups. He didn't even play much last year, did he?
No, I think he only played about 10 games last year, coming back from that Achilles injury that sort of was right at the back end of 2020. That was a great year for SJ. Pleasure to watch. And I think the way that his game changed from that explosive sort of sidestepping highlight reel player to more of that general get him around the park, it's for me, we've already mentioned that Cleary's a joy to watch. For me, that was a joy to watch, seeing sort of like Benji Marshall, how he went from that to more of that, Mr. Composed, veteran style of play. But I think what made Shaun Johnson so good in the early part of his career, that injury and age is obviously affecting him there. So in season 2022, or leading into it anyway. So where I have him, I think this is going to be a good one for debate.
Oh, what were we saying? Sorry.
Oh, where I have him in this list, I think it's going to be up for debate. Like,
I would probably put him just based on the fact where he is in his career now, and with the change of club, and also going to a team that obviously has had its troubles in the last couple of years. I would probably put him above Ben Hunt, below Mitchell Moses. Yeah,
he's still a quality halfback, I think. You're not disappointed if you're running out like the old schoolyard days where you say, okay, I'll have him, and then the other team says, I'll have him. If you end up with Shaun Johnson, you're not disappointed. And again, I think I mentioned Jahrome Hughes, potentially Kiwi 7. Johnson's probably beside him at number 6 on the international stage. So, he's got to be right up there.
Yeah, so we'll chuck him in between Moses and Hunt there. And I think that obviously I love his energy and I love the way he obviously plays. It's brilliant to watch. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Warriors can do. And I think Ash Taylor, and Shaun Johnson actually could work out well. I know Ash, from his Gold Coast Titans days, didn't live up to the expectations, but I truly believe that he's never really had that solid halfback like a Shaun Johnson here that really could help out his game. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Warriors go with those two. And then finally, we get to my boy, Sexy Sexton, Toby Sexton, the big fella. I think we had to put him in Unproven. He's only played, 4 or 5 games now? 4 games, I think, in under 7, because Jamal Fogarty was the guy there. I think Sexton played a bit of the 6 role. I think that he's too young and too unproven to be putting into any other position.
Yeah, I'm with you. Unproven, but he's massive. And the fact that they were happy to move on, Ash Taylor and Fogarty, and put their trust in a kid who's played 4 games, that speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he's fantastic with Tweed. Tweed obviously were very close to win the Queensland Cup last year as well. Didn't get there in the end. I think they got beaten by like a Redcliffe or something like that, or someone, I'm not sure. But he was fantastic there for Tweed. A lot of people do not understand that he does have such superior quality coming through because of the fact of his age, and they don't really know enough about him yet. And that's why we're putting him in Unproven. But you watch, he's a very good player. If you are a Titans fan, you know what we're going to get from him because we watch every game. A lot of people don't watch Titans games because usually they're not exactly fantastic. So I think the last year, I guess people were tuning in and get a little bit, but Toby Sexton is a huge player coming through, and hopefully AJ Brimson can really partner him nicely.
Looking at that SuperCoach lens as well, I've seen some teams, people have been sending me their teams via the DMs and such and say, what do you make of this? What do you make of that? And for me, I'd say you've got to start with Cleary, but a lot of the other options I've seen that sort of want that cheaper halfback, they're all falling to Sexton. They're not falling to Adam Reynolds, Cherry-Evans, Hughes, Hynes. They've all gone to Sexton. I think it's because what we've seen from him already has been first class, and his goal kicking. It's right up there with the very best.
They're a high-paced attacking team to the Titans. You know, he's got the Fafitas, he's got the energy back line. He's got the fullback and Jaden Campbell as well. AJ Brimson, he's very nice moving around as well. Obviously, haven't seen him much in the 5'8", which is why I believe we put him in Unproven as well in the 5'8" section. I think these guys, they're going to probably lay with this foundation for the next 3 years and guarantee for the next 3 to 4, just to see how they progress with each other. And from what I've heard, because I obviously am very well in touch with the club, these guys are really working nicely together. So I'm looking forward to what Toby Sexton can do this year. And truly, I believe he could be in quality by the end of this year. Sorry. Yeah,
sort of could follow that Sam Walker trajectory. Play a couple of games, build some size, get some confidence, and then go on to bigger things. Massive. And as a for Titans fans, it's such an exciting time.
Oh, man.
I don't think there'll be too much tackling going on up there at the Gold Coast.
Hey, listen, let's just leave it. Let's just leave it at the exciting time, all right? Let's just leave it at the exciting time.
But I think that's the mentality that those young kids will play with. We'll concede 34, but we'll score 36.
Well, that's exactly how the game against the Roosters went multiple times last year. And we unfortunately lost by 1 both times because of Sam Walker. But, guys, that's going to do us here for today. Obviously, I think we've done pretty well here. I can't see anyone would significantly disagree with. I think that Luke Brooks there is actually more upper end halfbacks than I was assuming there was going to be. We've got 6, 7, 8 guys there in quality and above, and then Do the Job only has 2, and Not That Great only has 2, which is usually, though the Do the Job is jam packed normally compared. So it's good to see a lot of really quality halfbacks right now. Maybe the only do this one. Some people might do the Cherry-Evans up and down kind of deal, and then there might also be the fact that some people might believe Jake Averillo might be Do the Job or Not That Great section, or even Reynolds up to the top. But in the same sense, these whole videos are about your opinion. You're going to have different opinions to us, and that's why it's all good fun. That's why you get into the comment section and let us know. But what are your thoughts on this, man? You think we did well?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty rock solid list and sort of that good middle ground between what we both thought. As you say, it's all opinion. At the end of the day, it's a bit of fun as well. So good to do this. And like you say there, if we were to do this, 6 months, 8 months down the track, I'm sure that this list would look, considerably different.
100%. But all right, man, we're going to jump off. Appreciate you coming on. Obviously, let everyone know where they can find you again.
Yeah, at SuperCoach365, right across the socials, and excitingly, diving into some YouTube work as well. So after this one, head on over to our channel and give us a subscription or subscribe. I'm still getting up to date with all the terminologies and such. But yeah, head on over, give us a like, and share your thoughts on our videos as well.
Absolutely, can never get enough rugby league content, especially as well in the SuperCoach scene, because you want to know what you're talking about when you're doing SuperCoach, because it is something you do have to keep updated with, literally daily, nearly. But all right, guys, obviously thumbs up, subscribe. These come out every single 2 times a week, so get around that. Obviously, have your notification bell on. Not sure what the next one is, but that's why you've got to have the notification bell on. Appreciate you as always, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.